What happened in Alexandra Eala's first ever WTA Tour match at the Miami Open? Alexandra Eala is one of the most popular players on the WTA Tour. The Filipina, 20, first made a name for herself at the 2025 Miami Open, reaching the semifinals after defeating Jelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek. Alexandra Eala is now one of the most popular players in women's tennis, but where did it all begin? Enjoying a strong junior career, the Filipina received a wild card for the 2021 Miami Open qualifying tournament. The teenager needed 2 wins to advance to the main draw. Her first task was to take down Slovakia's Victoria Hrunkakova. Eala stepped on court as a big underdog, ranked 633 places below Hrunkakova in the WTA rankings. Alexandra Eala lost a 3-set thriller on her WTA Tour debut, playing her first tour-level match. Eala made a strong start on court 7, ranked 737th in the world. The Filipina immediately put pressure on her more experienced opponent, so much so that she won the first set, 6-4. She continued to impress in the second set, but Hrunkakova found another gear to force a decider. Unfortunately for Eala, she ran out of steam in the third set, slipping to a 6-4, 4-6, 2-6 defeat in her first WTA Tour match. She didn't let that defeat get to her, though, bouncing back with a point to prove in her second tour-level match. Receiving another wild card, this time for the 2021 Transylvania Open, Eala met Argentinian qualifier Paula Ormaechia. The ranking discrepancy between Eala and Ormaechia wasn't quite as large as it was in her first WTA match, but she still entered the match with the odds stacked against her. Just as she did against Hrunkakova, Eala won a tight first set, 7-5, but rather than feeling the pressure, this time she pushed ahead, securing the win 7-5, 6-2. A humbling 2-6, 2-6 defeat followed in the second round. But Eala had already proven herself, picking up the first of her 45 tour wins. The wins didn't really start to flow for another few years, though, as Eala was made to wait for her breakthrough. It was in Miami that Eala truly announced herself on the world stage, for years after her defeat to Hrunkakova. Defeating 3 Grand Slam champions, Eala qualified for a maiden WTA 1000 semifinal. She did, however, fail in her bid to reach the final, losing to Jessica Pegula in 3 sets, 6-7, 7-5, 3-6. It's not long until Eala returns to Miami, looking for more. Where will Alexandra Eala play next? After losing her first-round match at the Qatar Open, Eala traveled to the UAE in preparation for the 2026 Dubai Tennis Championships. Following Naomi Osaka's withdrawal, Eala was promoted to the main draw, and she now prepares to make her debut at the event. The Dubai draw should be much stronger than what we saw in Qatar, as the likes of Aryna Sabalenka and Pegula return to the fold. Eala would love nothing more than to one day be seated like those listed above, but how realistic is that goal? Well, she currently trails Emma Navarro, the 16th seed, by 851 points in the world rankings. Eala can begin to close that gap with a deep run in Dubai, but will be more than aware of the work she needs to do in Miami next month. Having reached the semifinals of the 2025 tournament, she'll have 390 points to defend. The 2026 Dubai Tennis Championships begin on Monday, February 16. Alexandra Eala, the dawn of a magical story in Miami. It was early in the spring of 2025. In Miami, the sun drenched the hard courts at Hard Rock Stadium, and a hush of anticipation buzzed through the crowd. For most tennis fans, the Miami Open is one of the world's premier events, a WTA 1000 tournament where the biggest stars clash for glory. But this time, beneath all the familiar names and seeded favorites, something remarkable was quietly unfolding, something that would echo across the tennis world and inspire a new generation of athletes from the Philippines and beyond. In the first round, a fresh face stepped onto one of the grand stages of women's tennis. A young Filipino wild card named Alexandra Eala. Ranked number 140 in the world and still just 19, she wasn't expected to make headlines. Yet, from her very first match in the WTA Tour main draw at Miami, Eala was poised to bend expectations and rewrite narratives. Round 1. A debut with purpose. Alexandra's first match in the main draw wasn't a quiet introduction, it was a statement. Her opponent was Katie Volinets, a solid tour competitor ranked around number 73. Eala approached the match not with nerves, but with focus and poise, reflecting the years of work she had put into this moment. From the opening serve, everything about Eala's tennis felt electric. She moved with fluidity, her lefty forehand a weapon that shifted momentum. She didn't just hang in the match, she dictated rallies, responded to pressure with composure, and ultimately closed out a 6-3, 7-6 victory. The win was calm in execution but seismic in significance. It was her first main draw WTA Tour victory, a milestone in itself. But for Alex, the Miami Open was never meant to be merely a page in the record books. It was the opening chapter of a story that would soon grip fans around the world. Round 2. Conquering a champion walking onto the court for the second round, Eala was greeted by cheers that blended curiosity with fervor. Her next opponent was not just another player. It was Jelena Ostapenko, the 25th seed and former French Open champion. Ostapenko was world-weary, powerful, and anchored by years of elite experience. For many, this first major test might have been intimidating, but Alex approached it differently. From the first serve, she fought for every point with fearless aggression. Long rallies turned into opportunities seized, every break point saved, every forehand driven down the line, and every volley met with unwavering resolve. Eala didn't just beat Ostapenko, she outmuscled her, outthought her, and ultimately closed a clutch 7-6-2, 7-5 win. It was a defining moment, not merely because she beat a seeded player, but because she became the first Filipino in WTA Tour history to defeat a former Grand Slam champion. In that moment, Eala's tennis was no longer a story of potential, it was a story of reality. Round 3. Taking down a top 10 star having already turned heads, Alex's run at Miami only grew bolder in the third round. Her next match was against Madison Keys, a formidable opponent once ranked in the world's top 10 and a major champion herself. Keys, with her thunderous ground strokes and experience on big stages, looked like the clear favorite. But Eala was unafraid. From the first exchange, the Filipino teenager played with astonishing clarity and strategic maturity. She redirected pace, handled high-pressure situations with genuine grit, and capitalized ruthlessly on every short ball. Match after match, point after point, she peeled away Keys' advantage. When the final point was played, Alex's serve put the seal on a stunning 6-4, 6-2 victory, one of the biggest wins of her young career. This victory marked something extraordinary. She became the first woman from the Philippines in the Open era to defeat a top 10 opponent. It was a watershed moment, not only for her own career but for sports history in her homeland. Quarterfinal magic. A fairy tale against Swiatek. By the time she reached the quarterfinals, this was no longer a Cinderella story, it was confirmation. Alexandra Eala was here to compete with the very best. Standing between her and a semi-final spot was perhaps the most towering challenge of all. Iga Swiatek, then world number 2 and 1.